how do you know if your magnesium is low? Magnesium deficiency is best known by the public for helping with sleep or you not being able to sleep properly. And it is kind of known also for helping in the bathroom. Now, if you've been dealing with those issues or maybe muscle cramping, you may have been asking yourself this very question. If that sounds familiar, then you are in the right place because I'm here to answer that question in today's video and help you get down to the bottom of this. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Dr. Kelly Shockley, Doctor of Cause, Chiropractic, board certified in sports medicine, and specialized in clinical nutrition. In this video, we're going to be going over 9 signs that you are low in magnesium. Magnesium deficiency is called the invisible deficiency because it is so often overlooked by your MD. Then we'll cover what you should be doing if you think you are actually running low on magnesium. I am going to be sharing with you the 2 best ways to increase magnesium levels. And finally, I'll be sharing why it is so important for you to put magnesium as a priority. It's a key nutrient for health and disease prevention. So let's dive in. What are 9 signs that you're probably running low in magnesium? Well, I'm going to list these out because that's the easiest way to do this. Have you ever had those awful muscle cramps or spasms? Here's the thing. I know so many people because being a chiropractor, we deal with this all of the time that people come in, they have extreme muscle tightness or they're having cramping in the middle of the night, their muscles are spasming, and they're trying to replace electrolytes, but they're missing out on one of the key ones, which is magnesium. So if you have been dealing with muscle cramping, more than likely your magnesium is running really low. Another common sign that your magnesium is low are cravings for chocolate. Now, this is not an end-all be-all. I mean, some people just crave chocolate because they crave chocolate, right? Or they need that sugar fix, and chocolate is just that mode of choice. But it is tied with magnesium deficiencies as well. Another huge one that really is kind of out of control right now is anxiety. If you've been feeling anxious or just more stressed than what you would consider normal, then magnesium might be part of the underlying reason as to why this is all amplified. Right along with that, what most people will use magnesium for is helping them fall asleep at night. Whether you're not falling asleep very easily or you're just not staying asleep the way that you should, could be evidence that your magnesium tank is a little on the low side. Another one that people have some awareness of that magnesium can relate to is dealing with constipation. In fact, if you look at most of the natural laxatives that are out there, they're high doses of magnesium. And it's magnesium of a different variety compared to what we would use for like improved brain function. Another not so well-known indication that magnesium is running low is dealing with high blood pressure. In fact, something super interesting is when the initial research was done with aspirin helping to potentially reduce risk of a heart attack, what you don't know is that that aspirin actually contained magnesium. Now, your heart is a muscle, right? And in order for muscles to work and contract properly, they have to have magnesium. So if your magnesium is running low and your heart's not working the way that it should, it's not maybe beating the way that it should, you could have elevated blood pressure as a result of that. So the question really is, when it comes to reducing risk for heart attacks, was it really the blood thinning aspect of the aspirin, or was it the magnesium that actually helped the heart beat the way that it was supposed to? I don't know. Maybe it was a combination. But just know, heart-related issues can be a sign of not having adequate magnesium levels in the body. Number 7, huge one, would be headaches and migraines. Again, this partly goes into the muscle component, but there's other factors related to magnesium that are directly linked with headaches and migraines. Number 8 goes back to heart being, healthy the way it should be. So if you're dealing with an irregular heartbeat, any of the arrhythmias, that very much could be evidence of lack of magnesium in your system. And number 9, believe it or not, would be acid reflux. So those are your 9 signs that if you're dealing with any one of those or a combination of them, you're probably deficient in magnesium. The other side of this is the last time I looked up the details, about 80% of Americans are deficient in magnesium. And in fact, it is the most common nutrient deficiency in America. So important because it's used for every operation in the body. Now, I'm super curious. Did you have any idea that low magnesium could lead to all these different varieties of symptoms? Drop your responses down in the comments for me so I can hear from you. Awesome. So now, after knowing all these potential different signs, you might be sitting there thinking, okay, I think I'm probably running low in magnesium. What is the thing that I do now? Do you just run out and start taking magnesium? Which you can. There's a method to that madness. Or is there a different way that I can get this more from our diet? And that's what we're going to delve into right now. So the first thing I want to cover is, what are some of the most magnesium-rich foods that you could incorporate into your diet on a regular basis to just try to naturally start boosting those magnesium levels? One of my favorite sources, because it's just easy to use in multiple things, are your seeds, specifically pumpkin and chia. I mean, I like to make the chia seed pudding. I will use that as a breakfast quite often, or an afternoon pick-me-up snack. Works really well. Pumpkin seeds, raw pumpkin seeds, also known as papitas, not my favorite thing. To me, I think they're a little bit bland. However, they work really well as like a salad topper, or putting them in trail mix, or if you're making your own like granola like bars, throwing those in there would be a great way to add in more magnesium just through your diet. In fact, they're one of the most nutrient-dense sources of magnesium. The top most nutrient-dense source of magnesium would be oysters. Now, I am not a fan of oysters, but if you are and you can assure that you're getting them from a clean source, then eat oysters on a regular basis, because you will be loading yourself up with magnesium that way. You can also get magnesium from nuts. So your cashews, your almonds, pecans, walnuts, those would all be good options as well. All of your dark leafy green vegetables contain magnesium. So if you're eating a salad that is not made from just iceberg, right? Dark leafy greens, throwing some raw pumpkin seeds on top of that, maybe some nuts as well, throwing in some avocado, because believe it or not, avocado has some magnesium in it too. You could be getting a really great source of magnesium from all of those different healthy, foods you should be consuming for a multitude of different reasons. If you're a fan of beans, well, legumes do contain a fair amount of magnesium as well. So does salmon, and so does chicken. So you could really easily, on a daily basis, be consuming foods that are more nutrient dense with magnesium and just naturally start increasing that level of magnesium in your body. Now, if you think, okay, that's fine and dandy, but I want to get ahead of this potential deficiency sooner, then you can use an actual supplement of magnesium. But know that they're not all created equally. Not only is it that within the realm of supplements, one company will be different than another, but there are different forms of magnesium. Magnesium oxide is one that is really readily available. It's one of the cheapest forms of magnesium. And let me tell you, it will probably only work on if you're dealing with constipation, because it really stays local in the gut. The body has a hard time absorbing it. So it doesn't go all throughout the body. So if you're hoping to get increased brain function out of this, magnesium oxide is not the form of magnesium you want to be looking for. Okay. Magnesium citrate is pretty well used as well. You'll get a little bit more widespread benefit throughout the body. Do not megadose on this, or you will find yourself in the restroom as well, because the body, it can use this as a natural laxative too. If you're really wanting to get the other benefits of the heart and the brain and your muscles, then the best forms of magnesium to be utilizing is magnesium glycinate, magnesium malate, and for the brain specifically, the only form that we know that's been proven to cross the protective blood-brain barrier is magnesium L-threonate. So if you're going to start supplementing, those are the forms that I use with my patients. And then we just have to talk about, where do you get such products? Getting them from somebody like myself, the healthcare provider that's licensed, that's a great choice. It's probably one of the best choices. Or going to your natural health food stores. These are not things that I would recommend getting from the traditional grocery store or from your bulk, food stores, because you do kind of get what you pay for. So if you want to get an effective brand, while it doesn't have to be the most expensive, I wouldn't skimp on this one either, because what good is a supplement if your body can't use it? So those are the forms, and those would be the sources of where I would actually use those from. Now, before I get into the top reasons to make magnesium a priority in your world, I would just take a moment to remind you to click that subscribe button right down below, turn the notifications on, give me a big thumbs up if I'm doing a good job for you while you're down there too. I appreciate your support greatly. I am regularly producing videos for you to help you be able to take back control of your health so that you can achieve what I like to call total body mastery. So again, just a reminder, click that subscribe button, turn the notifications on, and give me a big thumbs up if I'm doing a good job for you. I appreciate it. Now, what are these top reasons for making magnesium a priority? Well, first and foremost, magnesium makes up 1/3 of every single cell in your body. So ultimately what that means is every single organ system, every single function that happens in your body all day long, 24/7, is dependent on magnesium. And if you do not have sufficient levels of magnesium, ultimately your body is not going to be capable of working at an optimal level, which means your health is going to be challenged by this. So that's like priority number one. Along those lines, you also need to know that magnesium is used for 80% of every biochemical process that happens 24/7. So again, literally, things do not work correctly if you don't have sufficient levels of magnesium. And as we kind of alluded to in the signs that you could be running low in magnesium, there are really specific areas of the body and levels of health that you just will not have if you don't have enough magnesium. As I mentioned, you cannot have optimal brain function if you do not have sufficient levels of magnesium, which ultimately means your ability to stabilize your mood, your memory capacity, mental clarity, focus, concentration, none of that is going to work the way that it should. Magnesium is a pretty easy fix if you've been struggling with any of those challenges. And I urge you to implement this because so many people come to me and they say, oh, I'm just getting older. And you know what? It's not necessarily a sign of that. Maybe your reserve tanks are running a little low of what your body actually needs in order to function at this high optimal level. Your digestive system is not going to work properly if you do not have sufficient levels of magnesium. That leads to all kinds of things, not just the acid reflux or the constipation that we were talking about, but just even your ability to absorb, well, first, properly digest and absorb the nutrients that you should be able to get from the food that you're eating. And if you're not absorbing nutrients the way that you should be, that pretty much means nothing else in the body is going to be working properly either, because it's not getting adequate nutrients that it needs in order to thrive and function properly. Now, hormones also require magnesium for proper balance. Whether you're a man or a woman, hormone balance is going to be negatively impacted if you don't have enough magnesium. Now, women specifically, if you're struggling with PMS or even menopausal types of symptoms, magnesium is something that could be contributing to why you're experiencing those things. Erectile dysfunction and infertility issues, you name it, guys, anything related to reproductive function, organs, your thyroid, so energy levels, being able to lose or gain weight depending on what you need, body temperature regulation, how you're coping with stress, managing, the nuances of the day and the world that we're living in right now. All of those are going to be challenged if you don't have sufficient levels of magnesium. And probably one that is most important that I did already talk to you about is there is no way your cardiovascular system is going to work properly, much less along the lines of optimally, if you do not have high levels or just sufficient levels of magnesium. So make magnesium a priority. Now, if you want to be more precise on, is this actually an issue for me? You can test and figure out what your magnesium levels are. You can test it in the blood, you can test it in the hair, you can get a multitude of different ideas of what's going on with your magnesium levels. And furthermore, if you're having any of these types of issues, while it may be partly a deficiency of magnesium, the one reason why we don't just want to be like, okay, I'm going to start supplementing with magnesium is because everything we just talked about has multiple underlying reasons as to why you could be feeling the way you are, or ultimately, if you're trying to avoid things like cardiovascular problems or mental health types of a challenge, there's far more to it than just magnesium alone. So if you really want to have a true appreciation for what you need to be doing for your health to optimize it, then you have to test. Because if we're not testing, then we're guessing. And there's a really easy way for you to figure out what this looks like. Because let me tell you, the way to properly know this is not to just do a magnesium test. You need to be able to look at you as a whole. It's the only way you're going to have full appreciation of what's actually going on. So if you're sitting there going like, okay, how in the world do I do that? Don't waste another moment on that thought. I've got you covered. Down in the description below this video, click on it so it expands. Look for my 5-day health challenge and click on that. Now, it does not take you 5 days to get through the health challenge. And ultimately, it's like me breaking up this information of how do you get proper testing? How do you know how to create a customized plan off of that that's specific to you so that you can start restoring and taking back control of your health? So all the answers are in that video series for you that you get direct access to immediately as soon as you click on that link. So again, click on the description down below, make sure it expands, and look for the 5-day health challenge, and I'll see you over there. I appreciate you being here, and I can't wait to see you on a future episode. God bless.